A lot of new information has come out about Justice League today.
That is correct.
They've been doing set visits with the press, and today they were able to release the information. It sounds like that they listened to a lot of the criticisms from Batman vs. Superman and are making the appropriate adjustments to make this more inclusive for all audiences, young kids especially. What's some of the big news coming out?
Oh man, where do we begin? First off, the new logo got released.
New logo got released.
You can see that in the thumbnail, obviously. I really like it. It has like a comic book vibe. It kind of reminds me of the Justice League animated series a little bit.
Okay.
A picture of the new and improved Batmobile got released as well.
Yeah, I thought that looked pretty cool. They just made it's 99% the same. They just switched out a lot of the weaponry and stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah. Along with that, there's 2 new vehicles. I think one of them is called the Flying Fox, which is obviously refers to the giant bats. And that sounds really interesting to carry and fly around with the multiple Justice League members. And then the other one is called the Crawler. And that is, from what they described, it almost sounds like a smaller Batmobile kind of cockpit, but on 4 legs. And it just sounds really, really interesting. The guys that saw it said it looked amazing. Batman also, he has the same suit, they said, mainly from BVS. With some small differences, but they said he will get a newer suit towards the end of the movie.
Yep. That
they kind of referred to it almost like a tech suit, but not as intense as the one he used to fight Superman, obviously.
Speaking of new suits, 2 characters that we really haven't seen too much of yet, Cyborg and Flash.
Yeah, we haven't seen pictures of them yet.
We haven't seen pictures of those at all. They haven't released those yet, obviously. But they have released some information about their new suits. Tell us about those.
Yeah, the Flash suit sounds really intense.
Yeah.
Apparently it's like over 150 pieces that they have to individually put together. And apparently it takes 8 days to put the suit together, but only 5 minutes to put it on Ezra Miller and take it off. So that's interesting. They said it's definitely a unique look and kind of similar to Injustice, if you guys are familiar with that suit. They have some cords basically that are attached to the suit to give the lightning effect as he's running. So that's interesting, kind of like a practical way of doing that. Also, Cyborg. Obviously, Cyborg is going to be very CGI heavy, almost like Iron Man is.
Yep.
But everything from the head down is basically going to be CGI, obviously. And while they're filming, he's wearing the CGI pajamas, and he has a red light over one of his eyes and on his chest to kind of replicate how Cyborg obviously has the lights on his actual body.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And Aquaman and Mera, they also described them a little bit. They said in this one, Aquaman has a different look from BVS. He almost has like a scale mail, if you're familiar with the comics, obviously. And that sounds really badass. And Mera also, they said she has a more vibrant green outfit, obviously. And he kind of has like some seaweed almost inspiration for that. And Michael Wilkinson, the costume designer from Man of Steel, Watchmen, BVS, he's one of the best. And so it sounds like they've nailed those aspects, obviously. Another thing that they confirmed was that Steppenwolf is the main villain. He, in the plot, basically, they also released a synopsis, is that he and a force of parademons are going to be coming to Earth in search of 3 mother boxes. Of course, Darkseid was going to want those boxes. We'll see what happens with that. That should definitely be interesting. You imagine Darkseid will show up eventually. Steppenwolf was shown off in that deleted scene that they released after BVS came out. And I'm excited to see if they elaborate on that anymore in the Ultimate Edition of BVS.
Do you think the performance and critical reception of Batman vs. Superman is kind of pushing this production into an area that they weren't expecting a year ago?
Yes and no. And I say no because Chris Terrio, who wrote BVS, did rewrites on that and wrote the entire Justice League script from the ground up, said in an interview before BVS even came out back in like February, he said Justice League is a much lighter film than BVS in a lot of ways. You have Flash and Cyborg, who are younger, more humorous characters. And in BVS, you have these 2 massive superheroes that are fighting each other, and they shouldn't be. They're being controlled and manipulated. In this one, it's superheroes coming together to fight bad guys, and that's obviously a completely different goal and plot. It has affected it a little bit, because I do not think that they would have had this set visit if it wasn't for the massive critical hate that pretty much came out. And a lot of these guys that went, these film bloggers and journalists, a lot of them did not like BVS very much. And they were very critical of Zack Snyder. And when they were on the set visit, you know, they asked him a lot of questions. They were pressing him and his wife, Deborah Snyder, is the producer. And they nailed the questions. And I think a lot of these guys walked away very impressed with what they saw. And they have a lot more hope, you know, looking to the future. I'm super excited. I already was excited before, but this just, to see... You know, I love Zack Snyder, I love DC, I really have liked the movies, you know, Man of Steel and BVS, but I know that they've gotten a lot of hate, and I can see where some people are coming from, but to now see Zack Snyder kind of convincing and winning some people over just a little bit with a set visit and just getting this information out there, it makes me feel good for him and for everyone involved, Ben Affleck and all those guys. So, in addition to all the information that was released, the guys that visited the set saw a scene being shot, and they saw a scene, you know, that was shown on screen that's unedited, obviously. Basically, the one that they saw live was Commissioner Gordon on, you know, a rooftop in Gotham City, and Batman, Wonder Woman, and Flash all show up to discuss what's going on. Something about parademons kidnapping scientists. There's some banter, and then Cyborg shows up, and so that's really interesting that the four of them are, you know, all together, obviously, at this point in the movie. And the Commissioner Gordon turns around, and he's, you know, kind of on a little monologue. And he turns back around, and, you know, usually, you know, Batman disappears before Commissioner Gordon can see him. And in this instance, Batman does disappear, and Wonder Woman, and Cyborg. But Flash is still standing there. and the Flash is like, did they really just, like, disappear? So Barry Allen comes home to his apartment, and he walks in to see Bruce Wayne sitting in his room, basically. He's obviously shocked, and he's like, what the hell's going on? And Bruce Wayne kind of, you know, questions him, and he shows him the footage that he had from BVS of him, you know, using his super speed. He's like, oh, it's not me, it's not me. And then he sees the Flash suit, Bruce Wayne does, and he says, well, what the hell is that for? Bruce Wayne, you know, tired of him denying it, throws a batarang at Barry Allen, you know, super hard, and slows down, and Barry Allen's, you know, moving with super speed, and he's looking at what he's throwing him. He's like, what the hell is this? And then he sees it's a batarang, and he grabs it out, you know, there, basically, and then it cuts back to regular speed, and he's like, oh, are you Batman? And he's like, yeah, and then he's like, holy shit. And then he explains, you know, why he needs him, how he's recruiting a team, and Barry Allen's just like, I'm in. Like, you don't even need to tell me anything else. So that sounds like another great scene, another more lighthearted scene than anything we've seen before in BVS or Man of Steel. Lots to look forward to. 2.5 hours of that sounds great to me. So, hope you guys enjoyed the information. Check out our other videos, and if there's anything else released in the next week or so, we'll definitely have that for you. Comic-Con is just around the corner.
Yep.
I'm sure there'll be more information released then, maybe a Wonder Woman trailer. So that's really exciting. Definitely look for that stuff next month. Thank you for watching.